Let me tell you something most men never figure out until it's already too late. It's not the flowers, it's not the dinners, it's not the grand gestures you think she wants. What truly captivates a woman, what awakens her, is how you see her. It's the way your presence makes her feel more like herself than she thought she could. It's when your eyes meet hers and she feels for just a moment like her chaos finally makes sense. And when you give her a compliment that doesn't chase her validation, but instead mirrors her deeper essence back to her, that's not game, that's power. Because real power isn't loud, it's felt. It's the kind of energy that doesn't need to be announced. It's recognized. Today, I'm going to share with you 8 compliments that don't just flatter her ego, they awaken her soul. They reach past the filters, the noise, the performance, and touch something quiet inside her. The part most men never notice. If you're the kind of man who is done with surface level talk, who wants to connect through clarity, confidence, and stillness, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Before we begin, a small reminder. If you resonate with grounded masculine wisdom, if you crave deeper understanding of attraction and emotional truth, subscribe now and become part of this movement. We don't chase, we attract. We don't manipulate, we master presence. Welcome to Dark Psychology. I'm Amelia, and today we go deep. Always have, always will. Now, let's talk about the words that don't just impress her, they haunt her in all the right ways. 1, you see things in a way most people don't. Let me tell you something. Most men never realize perception is seduction. When you look at a woman and discover more YouTube video player education video editing software, tell her you see things in a way most people don't, it's not just a compliment, it's a lightning strike to her subconscious. Why? It's a lightning strike to her subconscious. Why? Because in that moment, she feels seen. Not for her beauty, not for her charm, but for her mind. Suddenly, you're not another man trying to impress her with your charm or confidence. You're the rare one, the one who notices the details everyone else skips. The tone in her voice when she hides a truth. The look in her eyes when she's torn between strength and softness. The way she pauses before answering, weighing honesty against safety. When you say those words, you see things in a way most people don't. What she hears is you're not invisible. And that's powerful because deep down, even the strongest women want one thing: to be understood. But here's what separates a real man from a performer. You don't say it to win her over. You say it because you mean it. Because you're built to observe, not just to react. Because you pay attention to the world like it's speaking to you in code. Most men look but don't see. Most listen but don't hear. You, on the other hand, read between the lines. You sense, you connect, you interpret. And when you give a compliment that comes from that place, from genuine awareness, it resonates through her entire nervous system. It's not a validation, it's an invitation. It says, you can stop performing. I already see you. That kind of connection, it's not chemistry, it's recognition. And recognition is one of the deepest human needs. But here's where most men destroy it. They try to fake depth. They throw lines like this around, you're so different from other girls, but their eyes are glued to her curves, not her energy. And trust me, women know. So if you're going to say you see things in a way most people don't, you better be that man, the man who actually sees. You notice the sadness behind the laughter, the unspoken boundaries, the moment her guard drops and she doesn't even know it. You don't have to mention it every time. You don't even have to speak because your stillness already communicates what words can't. Your presence says, I'm not here to fix you. I'm not here to chase you. I'm here to witness you. And in a world moving at the speed of distraction, a man who slows down to notice becomes unforgettable. Let me leave you with this reminder. You don't win her heart by doing more. You win it by noticing more, because presence is power. Awareness is attraction. And truly seeing her, not as a role, not as a fantasy, but as a soul. That's where everything begins. 2, you make people feel comfortable just by being around them. Most men chase excitement. They think attraction is fireworks. Loud, chaotic, unforgettable. But the truth almost no one teaches you is this. Comfort is the gatekeeper to desire. Your energy says you're safe here. You don't have to perform. And for a woman who's used to being looked at but not seen, that feeling is magnetic. When a woman says you make people feel comfortable just by being around them, she isn't praising you for being nice. She's naming your gravity. Your energy says you're safe here. You don't have to perform. And for a woman who's used to being looked at but not seen, that feeling is magnetic. It lowers defenses that good looks, money, and clever lines could never touch. Because comfort isn't boring. Comfort is permission to exhale, to soften, to arrive as herself. It's the feeling of taking off armor without fear of being punished for it. And that feeling, it's addictive. Here's what most men get wrong. They confuse calm with passive. They think being a safe place means agreeing with everything, apologizing for their presence, or shrinking to avoid tension. No. Real comfort is leadership. It's the way your groundedness allows other people to stop pretending. You're not bending to please. You're anchored, and your anchor becomes her harbor. You bring that energy when you stop trying to dominate the room and simply belong in it. You listen fully. You don't rush to reply. You don't compete for attention. Your attention is the value. Later, she won't be able to explain it. Not in a way that makes sense to anyone else. She'll just say, "There's something about him. I feel good around him." That's not small talk. That's a nervous system response. It's her entire body voting yes before her mind catches up. But understand this. You can't fake calm. You can rehearse confidence, but your breath tells the truth. You can memorize lines, but your eyes tell the truth. You can mirror body language, but your presence tells the truth. So where does this kind of presence come from? From the discipline of being at peace with yourself. From letting silence exist without scrambling to fill it. From knowing that connection isn't something you extract. It's something you allow. You don't rush the moment. You don't sell yourself. You don't manage her perception. You hold space so cleanly that her truth has room to breathe. And that's why comfort leads to trust. Trust leads to vulnerability. Vulnerability leads to intimacy. Not the manipulated kind, the soul level kind. So if someone tells you you make people feel comfortable just by being around them, receive it. It means your stillness speaks louder than your words. It means your presence regulates the room. It means you've mastered something rare in a world addicted to performance. You're not the noise. You're the space around it. Hold that. Guard that. Grow that. Because when you become a man who brings calm, you stop chasing connection. And connection starts finding you. Third, you're more powerful than you realize. Most men walk through life asleep, eyes open, hearts closed, living small, because somewhere along the way, the world convinced them they had to be. That's not flattery. They've been told to fit in, to be reasonable, to not rock the boat. And so they settle for jobs that drain them, for relationships that numb them, for lives that barely reflect who they really are. But every now and then, someone looks at them, really looks and says, "You're more powerful than you realize." That's not flattery. That's a mirror being held up to the part of you that's been waiting to wake up. See, when a woman says those words, she's not talking about muscles, money, or dominance. She's speaking to something far deeper, your potential. She senses a fire you've been too afraid to feed. She feels the quiet energy beneath your calm, the purpose that flickers behind your eyes even when you doubt yourself. And that moment, that single line isn't just a compliment, it's an invitation. She's saying, "I can see the man you haven't allowed yourself to become yet." That's why this line hits so hard, because she's not guessing. She knows. Women are intuitive. They laugh it away. They say, "Nah, I'm just doing my best." They pick up the smallest shifts, the hesitation in your voice, the way you hold your shoulders, the spark you hide under restraint. She can feel when you're pretending to be smaller than your spirit. And she can feel when you're finally starting to rise. But here's the problem. Most men don't believe it. They shrug it off. They laugh it away. They say, "Nah, I'm just doing my best." And in that moment, they betray their own greatness because she can't believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Power isn't about control. It's not about being loud or aggressive. Real power is calm. It's the certainty that doesn't flinch when the world tests you. It's knowing you could, but choosing not to because you don't need to prove it. And when you carry that quiet confidence, you stop being a man women date. You become a man women believe in. When she tells you you're more powerful than you realize, what she's really saying is, "I see the storm you've been hiding. Stop pretending it's rain." So let's make something clear. You don't become powerful by chasing power. You become powerful by aligning with truth. When your thoughts, words, and actions start matching. When you stop lying to yourself just to keep the peace, that's when your strength finally shows. It's not about dominance. It's about direction. It's not about confidence. It's about conviction. It's not about ego. It's about essence. And once you own that, really own it, everything changes. Your tone changes. Your walk changes. Your boundaries sharpen. Your presence becomes magnetic. You stop waiting for opportunities. You start creating them. You stop apologizing for existing. You start standing like a man who knows exactly why he's here. So when she looks at you and says, "You're more powerful than you realize," don't just smile and change the subject. Listen, let those words echo, because she's not complimenting who you are. You were just asleep. She's calling out who you're meant to become. If you've ever had a woman say that to you, or even if you felt it in silence, take it seriously. That's your soul reminding you it's time to rise. And if you're listening right now, hearing this and something inside you just shifted, good. That's not motivation. That's memory. Because deep down, you've always known you were never average. You were just asleep. So wake up, step in, and remember this. You don't need permission to be powerful. You just need to stop pretending you're not. Drop it in the comments right now. I'm done playing small, because today you stop surviving and you start leading. 4, there's something about you that makes silence feel good. Most people fear silence. They run from it like it's something dangerous. They fill every gap in a conversation with words, jokes, noise, anything to avoid that still space where truth tends to echo back at you. But then there's you. When she's with you, silence doesn't feel awkward. It feels alive. It breathes. It soothes. It connects. When a woman says there's something about you that makes sense feel good, she's not talking about comfort. She's talking about trust. It means her body can finally rest. Means her guard, her mask, her need to fill the space with nervous laughter, all of it just fades. Because with you, she feels safe enough to stop performing. Understand this. Silence isn't empty. It's full. Full of meaning. Full of energy. Full of everything most people are too busy to feel. And when your presence turns silence into peace, you're communicating something far more powerful than words ever could. A man who can hold silence without flinching. That man radiates control. He's not desperate to fill space. He's not reaching for approval or validation. He simply exists. And that existence commands attention. Picture this. It's late. The car is quiet. Your stillness becomes her surrender. The world outside is fading into darkness. You're driving. She looks at you. No words, no tension, no performance. She exhales deeper than she has all week. And in that quiet, she realizes something. This man doesn't just talk, he feels. That's intimacy. Not the physical kind, the energetic kind. It's when her nervous system starts to mirror yours. Your calm becomes her calm. Your stillness becomes her surrender. But let's be clear, not everyone can handle that kind of silence, because silence exposes you. It shows who's truly grounded and who's just pretending. It shows who's secure and who's faking composure. Most men can't handle it. They panic, they joke, they rush to fill the void. But you let the void speak because you know silence is an absence. Its presence turned up loud. And when a woman experiences that with you, she won't forget it. She may not even be able to explain it. She's describing your energy, your self-possession, your lack of fear in the quiet. She'll just remember the feeling, that stillness between you, the heartbeat she could suddenly hear again, the peace that came from being seen without needing to be spectacular. That's when attraction turns into connection, because she's not attracted to what you said. She's drawn to how she felt when you said nothing. So when someone tells you there's something about you that makes sense feel good, understand that she's not just describing a moment. She's describing your energy, your self-possession, your lack of fear in the quiet. You've become the rarest kind of man. The one who doesn't chase noise, but lets the world lean closer to hear his silence. And if you haven't heard that compliment yet, don't force it. Just keep doing that inner work. Keep becoming the man who doesn't rush, doesn't flinch, doesn't fold. Because when your calm becomes contagious, she'll feel it before you ever say a word. And in that still moment when she glances at you with that soft, searching look, the one that says she can't explain what's happening, that's when you'll know. You've already said everything without saying a thing. If this part speaks to you, drop this in the comments. My silence has presence because silence isn't your weakness. It's your signature. 5, you don't try to be different. You just are. There's something magnetic about a man who isn't trying to stand out, yet somehow he always does. He walks into a room, says little, moves slowly, and without effort. The energy around him shifts. Not because he's trying to be mysterious, not because he's playing a role, but because he's at peace with who he is. When someone tells you you don't try to be different, you just are. What they're really saying is you're real in a world built on performance. And when you operate from that space, you don't attract attention. You command it quietly. Women feel that difference immediately. See? Most men are constantly adjusting their masks, trying to be funny enough, confident enough, loud enough, successful enough, whatever they think will earn attention. But every time you perform for approval, you disconnect from yourself just a little bit more, and people can feel that falseness. It's subtle, but it's there. Then you meet a man who's not performing. He doesn't need to prove anything. He doesn't compare, compete, or chase validation. He just is. And because of that, everyone around him feels it. That's you, the man who doesn't try to be different because he's already grounded in his. Authenticity doesn't need an audience. It carries its own light. And when you operate from that space, you don't attract attention. You command it quietly. Women feel that difference immediately. They may not articulate it, but their intuition recognizes it in seconds. They sense when your words, your tone, and your energy are aligned. When your inner world and your outer presence finally match, that's what congruence feels like. It's truth without explanation. When you're congruent, everything you do carries weight. A glance, a pause, a sentence. Because it's not about the gesture, it's about the energy behind it. And that energy says, I'm not here to impress. I'm here to express. That's the difference between the man who performs and the man who radiates. The performer bends himself for attention. The authentic man bends reality by his presence. Here's what most don't realize. When you stop chasing attention, you become the man everyone wants to understand. You become mysterious. Not because you hide things, but because you finally stopped explaining yourself. And women, they feel safer around that kind of man. Not because he's predictable, but because he's solid. He doesn't move from fear or need. He moves from clarity. That kind of man is rare, and in a world built on masks, rare is irresistible. So when someone says, you don't try to be different, you just are, they're recognizing your peace. They're seeing that you no longer need to compete with the noise because you've learned to let the silence make its point. You've done the work. You've looked in the mirror and stopped editing the reflection. You've realized you don't need to shout your worth. Your stillness already says it. And that's the paradox. When you stop trying to stand out, you finally do because nothing stands out louder than truth. So, if this part hits home for you, if you've spent years trying to prove your value, and you're finally ready to just drop this in the comments. I'm done performing because the man who stops performing becomes unforgettable. Not because he demands attention, but because he no longer needs it. 6, you'd be dangerous. If you ever realized how beautiful your mind is, let's be real for a second. The way you sense patterns, emotions, energies long before they're spoken. Most men don't even realize how powerful they actually are. Not in body, not in status, but in thought. They've been trained to hide it, to quiet their curiosity, to dim their insight just enough to fit in. The world rewards obedience, not brilliance. So you learn to play small, to do instead of think, to repeat instead of create. And yet, every once in a while, someone looks at you with that spark in their eyes and says, you'd be dangerous if you ever realized how beautiful your mind is. That line hits different, doesn't it? Because deep down, you know it's true. You've felt it before. The quiet hum of your thoughts connecting dots others don't even see. The way you sense patterns, emotions, energies long before they're spoken. The way your instincts whisper truths your logic can't yet explain. It's the fact that your mind doesn't just process, it creates. And that creation energy, music, it's magnetic. But you've also silenced that part of yourself. The visionary, the thinker, the observer, because it made people uncomfortable because you were told to be realistic, to keep your head down. But here's the truth. Your mind was never meant to blend in. It was built to lead. When a woman tells you your mind is beautiful, she's not talking about intellect. She's talking about awareness, about the way your mind works in layers, how it sees meaning in silence, lessons in pain, beauty, and imperfection. She feels it when you speak slowly, intentionally with weight behind your words. She hears it when you listen. Really listen. Not just waiting for your turn to reply, but to understand. Your intelligence isn't just what you know, it's how you perceive. It's the precision in your attention, the way you connect the dots others skip. It's the fact that your mind doesn't just process, it creates. And that creation energy, it's magnetic.